Hey everyone, thanks for joining me on Talk Tuesday. Hunter. I have a topic to talk about. I want to talk about, you know, tenants and what's between tenants. So I won't. What's the difference? Well, to get into it, the difference is why are they in okay. Don't know what is going on here. Okay. So why are they a non-paying tenant? Well, did they stop paying rent because of financial reasons, or did they stop paying rent as a reason to commit fraud or a reason to just live rent free? They have nice jobs, they have good cars, they have money in the bank, and they just don't want to pay rent. So are they a squatter or are they a non-paying tenant? If they had permission to enter your home, they are a non-paying tenant, regardless of if they made a payment to you or not. They are a tenant. If they stop paying rent, regardless of the reason, they are a tenant. Okay. So for me, the difference is, did they write a bad check just to get a lease like Pastor Denise? Did they, somehow con you into giving them a lease and telling you that they get paid next Tuesday? They'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today, if you're old enough to know who that is. Anyway, so there's different non-paying tenants, okay, and they are treated differently. I cannot treat a tenant that lost their job and that can't afford to pay their rent the same as someone who conned their way into a property or just decided that, hey, everyone else is doing it, I'm going to do it too, and I'm going to not pay rent, I'm going to live rent free, I'm going to buy a nice car. Those are the people that I'm looking for. Those are the people that are, in my book, criminals, people that have a criminal mind, a self-entitled mind, a narcissistic mind, a sociopath. I mean, these people that are taking advantage of homeowners, that way, just not paying rent and causing them to possibly lose their home and worse. So those are the ones that I will go after. Now, when I say go after them, when it comes to tenants, there are a lot of differences. My website will talk about what I can do, and my videos will talk about what I can do with squatters, but it does not all apply to tenants. Okay. So a squatter that never had permission, that broke into a property, that doesn't have a lease or has a fake lease, I can treat differently than someone you gave permission to enter your property. I don't care if it was 10 years ago and they haven't paid rent in 9 of them. You still gave permission and you must go through the eviction process. Now, what I do for those cases is I simply offer to mediate. But before I really get into that, I do my own checking and I investigate. Sometimes I will go out and try to make contact with your non-paying tenant and try to get the story. I want to hear both sides. And then there are times where I actually, when it is somebody who can't afford rent and now I see resources in that area, I have helped non-paying tenants that are not paying because of financial reasons. Sometimes I find that a lot of times an older person lost their job. It's really hard for a person that's in his late 50s or 60s and to start over and to get a job and to get a company to I understand I'm breaking up, and I know I am, and I apologize. And it says I have good service, but for some reason, so I apologize for that. So I'm trying to repeat whenever it does that, and then I'll go in and try to edit the video later and take those pieces out. But anyway, I want to help, and sometimes it takes me reaching out to them by email, visiting the property, to make contact with them and to be able to offer that help. So I will always, go into it with mediation in mind. And sometimes through that, through the mediation, I will find that it's somebody that isn't, is the most vulnerable person, isn't the person that lost their job and just can't afford rent, but is a person who is strategically not paying rent. So those are the people that I want to find out what's going on. And if it's not an isolated thing, now I will if I find somebody that is doing this on a regular basis and that is conning people and, moving state to state or city to city or, block to block, and they're constantly conning landlords out of homeowners, even though they're gaining a lease, those are the people that I want to expose. Those are the people that our exposure is, it is more, it's basically, it's public awareness and safety. It is, and that's why we're protected by, the First Amendment as far as, freedom of freedom of the press. And, I'm a name and a face in all this. That's my role. And, and I use my name and face to get the word out. Okay. But in the end, I'm not exposing people that are just non-paying tenants. I'm exposing people that are, they fit in a category of awareness, and that to where I believe, shall I say, we all believe that that this is a message that others can learn, and others can avoid falling for their con, right? So those are the ones that that I'm going to, look into for exposure purposes. But I'll tell you what, many of the situations are not that situation, and I just work as many of those situations are not that situation, and I just work as a mediator. And a lot of times you got a homeowner and a tenant that odds, they can't civil, they're fighting, they're yelling, they can't have a civil conversation, and I come in with a cool mind and a cool voice, and I just come in and try to mediate the situation peacefully. And many times the tenants are actually the ones that are thanking me and helping them move on. So anyway, I just wanted to clear that up today. I had a Zoom with someone earlier today, and I was explaining that, and I thought, you know what, that needs to be a topic. So that's the topic. So, you've got squatters that never had permission. You've got tenants. They are tenants because they had permission to enter the property. Even if it was just come sleep on my couch for until you get on your feet, they are still considered tenants. So you have to be very careful, and I have to be very careful how I'm dealing with each situation and every case separately. So, I can't ever lock out a tenant. Okay. Can't lock out a tenant. Depending on the location, the house, the setup, the lease, things like that, I can get a sublease and I can rent a room or whatever, depending on how it's structured. And then there are other states that allow for certain things like renovation and things to be able to, turn off power, turn off water and things like that. So we actually give notice, we give proper notice to the tenant. And if permits are required, we actually go through that process. And that's how I'm able to turn water or power off or utilities or something like that. And so, I had someone ask me, they asked me today on that Zoom, can I can I turn off? I'm thinking about just turning off the water and power, but you can't just turn off the water. So it's against the law to do that in most states, and that is not what I'm doing. So I just want to be very clear that there are procedures, and everything that I'm doing is working within the law. And that's why I visit law enforcement first. That's why they accompany me to these properties. So anyway, I just wanted to clear that up. I'm going to get to stories and I mean stories. I'm sorry. I'm going to get to comments and questions. See if there's any questions, and then I'm gonna shut this. I'm actually visiting family, and my daughter has something going on tonight that I get to watch her perform. So I'm going to be cutting this a little bit short, but I so I came to town to take care of some some things and get to see my kids and stuff like that. So anyway, three times. Happy Tuesday. Sorry, my eyes. Matter of fact, last week I have to apologize because I was calling someone Mario and it was actually Maria. So I apologize. There were some things that I wasn't seeing. I refuse to wear glasses, but I really should. And let's see here. Do we have? Let's see here. Do we have any questions? Captain Tom says, most likely the CEO of YouTube is a squatter. So now he's just threw and add on. All right, I'm back. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so Captain Tom asks a question: can you disconnect water for repairs? Yes, if you have repairs that you need to do to a home, you just have to give proper notice to the tenant, regardless if they're a squatter, a non-paying tenant, or a paying tenant. They all deserve the same notice. You post a notice on the door. For example, if you want to enter the unit, 24-hour notice. Some states require a 48-hour notice. You have a right to enter for inspection, for repairs. You put a notice. If they do not allow you to enter the home, you can get law enforcement to accompany, and they will allow you to enter the home. Utilities, same thing. Put a notice on the door. You're informing them that on this day, during this time, water and power will be out. I have a situation where a complete renovation needs to be done because of water damage, and that tenant is being notified that basically the water and certain things, water and power, are going to be off and on periodically for literally for months. So it's recommended to them to vacate, but we'll see if they actually do. So let's see here. Captain Tom says it's good to know these terms and procedures, and there's a lot of times friends and family let friends or guests stay on the couch or live in a guest room, till they can get to their feet. And that's very common, and you need to understand. It's great that you are offering a place to your friends and your family and stuff, but sometimes it does backfire. So try to make sure that you have a good relationship with them, and there's a backup plan or something, because believe it or not, I get a lot of people reach out because they have a family member that they can't get out. So it can backfire. I'm not going to tell you not to help your family and friends, but understand that you're opening your door to them. You're letting them come in there. You're letting them become your tenant, and therefore they have actual tenant rights. And when it comes down to tenant rights, it doesn't matter if they're family. They get the same rights as a stranger. Okay. So, guys, I'm going to cut this short. I'm going to tell you, if you ever have an intruder, call law enforcement, have them come out, make sure that it's safe, make sure that your family's safe, the situation's safe. But the moment they tell you it's a civil matter and there's nothing they can do, contact me, squatterhunters.com, send me an email, and let's do a Zoom and talk about outside the box options. This was Flash. And remember, this was Flash. But remember, it's property. It's not worth your life. Don't take unnecessary chances. And remember to always record every interaction you have with your tenant, squatter, or intruder on video, your phone, or whatever it may be. Make sure, because it could protect you and save you a whole lot of trouble. So this was Flash, your squatter hunter, the outside the box. Thank you for watching. Sorry for the breakups in the video. Hopefully I can fix that for when it actually turns to a video. If you missed any part of this broadcast will repeat, and it will turn into a video later on for you to see at your leisure. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next week on Squatter Talk Tuesdays. Take care now.